Calling the Public Works Committee for September 18th, 2023 to order. Please call the roll.
Councilors Crampits?
Yes.
Labrie?
Here.
Hushane?
Here.
Piniac Costello?
Here.
Brooks?
Okay, seeing that we have a quorum in compliance with the Massachusetts Open Meeting Laws, is anyone audio or videotaping this meeting or any part thereof? This meeting, please raise your hand. Those in the audience recording. And are there any counselors on Zoom? Okay, and with us tonight, we have our attorney, Tim Riley, our administrative assistant, Carla Grace, also Counselor at Large Zagorowski, Counselor President of the City Council, Counselor Frank LaFlamme, City Engineer Doug Ellis, and also joining us via Zoom is DPW Superintendent Elizabeth Batista. So welcome to all that are here. We're going to take a couple of these out of order, so.
Can I make a motion?
Sure.
Thank
you. Okay, motion seconded to take, I guess you're going to probably want items 16 and 17 out of order? Please. Okay. So second to take items 16 and 17 out of order. Please call the roll. Mr. Chairman.
What should we talk? I would suggest a motion for each item taken out of order. So do the first one, take it out of order, then do a motion for the second one, take it out of order instead of both.
Oh, instead of doing both.
Just one at a time.
All right. Can you, I'm sorry, just revise your motion,
Sure.
take item 16 out of order?
And 17?
No, just
One
one at a time. So
One at a time, okay. Motion to take 17 out of order.
the seconded to take item 16 out of order. Please call the roll.
Councilors Crampits?
Yes.
Labrie?
Yes.
Hushane?
Yes.
Piniac Costello? Brooks?
So they're not numbered. So I have to count them. Yes. So, I don't think it's even on the sheets, but, okay. All righty, item 16, be it ordered that the DPW perform an updated traffic study on Chicopee Boulevard and send to the Public Works Committee for a public hearing. This order was proposed by Councilor Piniac Costello, so I will let her discuss it and then have engineering folks chime in.
Yes, this was a request by several residents that live on Chicopee Boulevard for an updated traffic study. So I would now turn it.
Doug, if you can speak on that, please.
Yes, okay. Yeah, we had tried to perform a traffic study on Chicopee Boulevard when the water main project on James Street was going on. When we realized that they had one end of the road shut down, we knew that those counts would be no good. So we've got to get now that school's back in, we'll get back out there and do counts. At the moment, there's 2 of us in engineering, so we have to wait till we get some people back.
Thank you. The residents that are here,
Okay.
thank
yeah.
you.
I'm gonna open it up to public input. If you can just come up to the microphone stand right there. This again is on the Chicopee Boulevard traffic study, which hasn't been completed yet, but please come up and give your name and address. Thank you.
Good evening. My name's Debbie Panagotopoulos. I live on 30 Chicopee Boulevard. My house backs the Castle of the Knights, and I'm 2 houses from Dairy Queen. So over the years, I've been there since 1980, and over the years, we've had real issues, of course, with Dairy Queen, but now they're gone. So I'm not opposed to a Dunkin' Donuts there. I just don't feel it's the right place on that curve coming from James Street. And I've been at other meetings, and I've brought pictures at other meetings, so I brought them back for you all to see. The traffic coming from the base is horrendous. You have the fire station, you have 3 schools, you have manufacturing, and you have several condos down there. that are all filtering onto James Street, onto the state rotary, onto a state highway, which is already, Memorial Drive is crazy, as people know. I'm on that side of the highway, and I'm sure the other people on the other side of the highway that are residential, they are the same way. That rotary is just ridiculous. There's been lots of accidents, and I believe I know there was a woman that was hit crossing from the Castle of the Knights to Walgreens a few years back. And the traffic is just crazy around there. These pictures actually show the parking lot of the Castle of the Knights pretty much is full. They've got a good business going on there, whether they say so or not. But so these are the pictures of the parking lot. This is where the proposed Dunkin' Donuts would be. Right on that corner is the little, kind of the ramp to go on to James Street, and it's very small. And even at that, like in the morning, school buses are coming, whatever. Oh, and school buses come down there too. It's very hard to get out of Ketty Boulevard onto James Street. And I guess they want to filter the Dunkin' Donuts onto Memorial Drive, which is crazy. But anyway, I just want to have you be aware that I just don't think it's the right place. And there is a lot of traffic going. These two are from my car leaving at 3 o'clock in the afternoon, because I work near my street. I own a salon. And when I try to get out of there to go back to work, anywhere between 1 and 4, it's just so much traffic coming from everywhere down into the rotary. So these are pictures.
Okay.
Thank you for your
All right.
time.
Thank you very much. Sure, Councilor Pena, if you
Yeah,
want
I
to
just
ask
have
the resident a
I
question.
just have a question. In regards to the traffic study on Ketty Boulevard, do you feel that the traffic is going to be worse because of different plans that have been passed? Or, and do you think that this traffic study is needed to address your neighborhood needs?
I definitely think the study is needed, because even there are times where tractor trailers don't realize that they have to go up a little ways, and they'll try to go down Ketty Boulevard. And people coming to Subway, they come flying down Ketty Boulevard from James Street. Now that Dairy Queen is closed, it's a little less, but there's going to be a business eventually going in there again. What type of business, we don't know. But I think it's just too much traffic filtering from that base. I mean, you have fire trucks trying to get through, ambulances trying to get through. It's just very congested. You have CVS, Walgreens, Frontiera, and when Frontiera is busy, the whole lawn, their lawn, and they park in Walgreens. And then you got Price Right. So it's just so congested there that maybe a drive-through isn't the answer.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else for public input? Okay, please come up and state your name and address, please. And I probably should have said this before, but we're limiting public input to 3 minutes, so please
No
abide by
problem. Jared Parker, 44 Ketty Boulevard. I also agree the traffic study is a good idea. As Debbie said, we have people moving at a fairly fast clip along that street, usually going to Subway or the prior Dairy Queen and whatever business replaces it. And I mean, we talked before, but I'd like to talk about signage posting, like maybe like a no through traffic or something like that, to hopefully limit the number of non-resident people trying to cut through our street to get to James Street. Like Debbie was talking about, if that rotary is packed full, people will use our street as a handle effectively to get to James Street without having to go through the rotary. It would also prevent semis and other large trucks from taking that as a shortcut. But yeah, good idea. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Anyone else here for public input on Ketty Boulevard traffic study? Anyone on Zoom for public input on the Kenny Boulevard traffic study.
Motion to close
No,
public input?
Mr. Chair, I have a quick question, if I may.
But we're gonna close public input and then, I'm sorry, go ahead.
Motion to close public input.
Motion, second to motion to close public input, on this item. Please call the roll.
Councilors Crumpets,
Yes.
Labrie,
Yes.
Kushein.
Yes.
Piniac Costello.
Yes.
Brooks.
Okay, and public input is closed. Before we go to Counselor, Laflamme,
Come on.
any of the
No,
committee
I
have
can
any
wait.
questions? Okay.
I thought you were gonna vote this all.
Okay, Counselor Laflamme, go ahead.
Thank you. So, is the traffic study for James Street or Kenny Boulevard? Kenny Boulevard, right? Yes. Only? Okay, thank you. That's all I'm just trying to understand. Thank you. That's it
Anyone
for
else
me.
on the committee? Anyone outside of the committee? Liz, did you want to comment on this at all, or? Okay,
It sounds like there's several concerns there, maybe not just Ketty Boulevard. It sounds like it's just the traffic congestion in general in that area. Engineering will do a traffic study. We'll see what the use is right now. It's probably going to be a little bit less considering there is no Dairy Queen, but I think that that'll enable us to determine what would be the best way to proceed to help mitigate if there is an excessive amount of traffic cutting through there. So that's all I guess I want to say.
thank you. Anyone else? Counselor Zagrowski?
Go through traffic or no through trucks? I mean, if it was no trucks, you'd have to have that backed up by a, heavy vehicle exclusion, which has to be approved by the DOT.
Through traffic, you can't.
I do not believe so, no. Yeah.
Counselor Costello?
I can't
Thank
hear
you.
what,
Hello?
I
Okay,
couldn't
here we
hear
go.
what Counselor Zagorowski was saying.
Wasn't important.
The through traffic sign, and, Doug answered him. Speak up next time, Counselor Zagrowski. Use your microphone. I'm sorry, go ahead.
Counselor Ellis, when do you think the, engineer, when do you think the traffic study will be done? Will it take a couple of months?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Motion to postpone to the call of the chair?
Okay, we'll, motion to postpone it to call the chair.
Councilors Crumpets,
Oh, I'm sorry. Please call the roll, yes, for postponement.
Councilors Crumpets,
Yes.
Labrie,
Yes.
Kushein.
Yes.
Piniac Costello.
Yes.
And Doug, you said that probably might be in a couple of months for the traffic study?
Yes. Right now, we have 2 people, and I have 1 person who's coming back from a surgery sometime in October, so
All right,
people back in the office.
Alrighty, thank you. Okay, and the postponement has been, approved 4-0, and no members on Zoom. And, I'll wait to hear back from, Ellis, and then, once we have the study, schedule a meeting, so thank you. And can I have a motion to take item
Motion.
17 out of
Motion to
order.
take item 17 out of order.
Okay, motion second, take, item 17 out of, order. Please call the roll.
Councilors Crumpets,
Yes.
Labrie,
Yes.
Kushein,
Yes.
Piniac Costello.
Yes.
Okay, and read the order. This is about, for, Maple Avenue. Be it ordered that Maple Avenue be accepted as a city street for the referral to the DPW and Law Department and Public Works Committee. This was also filed by Councilor Piniac Costello, so I'll let her speak on it.
Thank you. Maple Avenue is a paper street right now. Many residents in that area want it to be accepted as a city street. A gentleman who's here, Mr. Gallant, went around with a petition in the area and 246 people signed it to have Maple Avenue accepted as a city street. Mr. Gallant is here. He will make a presentation as well. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you. City Engineer, Doug Ellis, did you want to, have any comments before we open up to public input?
I'll wait till after the public input.
Okay,
Yeah.
all right. Motion to, well, we'll open up public input then. Please come up and state your name and your address, please. And you have approximately, well, you have 3 minutes to present.
My
Thank
name
you.
is Paul Gallant, 65 Fifth Avenue. I started the Maple Avenue petition that had 2 goals: leading town, put it back on the plow list long before this petition was submitted. The second goal, making it a city street, is still in process. What were the goals of the engineers that designed Fairview Park back in 1912? What would it take for us to achieve their goal today? The cost of developing land on the south end of Fairview Park would eliminate any possibility of profits from the sale of houses built on it. So a planned deviation could connect Maple Avenue to the south side of 5th and or 6th Avenue. Land is reserved for this purpose and the gully is relatively shallow in this area. Making 5th Avenue a one-way out and 6th Avenue a one-way in my opinion, is the best way to do this. The south side of 8th and 9th Avenues are classified as access crossroads. They could be connected to the central access road, Oak Avenue, according to the original plan. The storm blocks one of the 3 access roads with down tree or power lines. There'll be 2 more access roads available. So the fire truck will get to the fire, the ambulance will get to the injured, and residents trying to evacuate will do so. Right now, the north access road, Whittlesey Avenue, gets 100% of the traffic. It's the only way in and out. But it was supposed to be 1/3, 1/3, 1/3, with every car on Maple Avenue being one less car on James Street. There'd be no time benefit to cutting through Fairview Park. It's shorter, faster, just stay on the main roads. Of course, there's people that think they're going to beat the system, but a little diligence from the residents should result in blue lights behind them when they try it. You know, if they start making a habit of it. There are a lot of quiet neighborhood people in the area. Dead-end streets and dead-end neighborhoods with one way in and out is their definition of a quiet neighborhood. To their way of thinking, adding another access road would ruin the neighborhood by making it louder than an airport. The average person puts safety first, along with the protection of their homes and personal property. They would favor building more access roads. They're going to make it safer for everybody. Of course, if Maple Avenue is built, then it's going to meet all the modern specifications, and it would be easily accepted as a city street. So you need to think about that. From what I understand from the mayor, I guess there's some programs or whatever where they're encouraging them to build more streets to get tax benefits or whatever for the city. So it could be something worth looking into. But that's where we stand right now. It doesn't actually meet the modern specs because it was built and it was basically built 2 houses and it established a road in between them back in 1940. The specs back then were totally different than it is now, so it's not going to meet modern specs. This could be a way around it, and also helping the residents of Fairview Park in the process. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. Do you have any comments, Mr. Ellis, that you wanted to make, or? Huh? I'm sorry. Anyone on Zoom for public input? Anyone on Zoom for public input? No one's on,
Motion to close public input.
second, motion to close public input. Please call the roll.
Councilors Crumpets,
Yes.
Labrie,
Yes.
Kushein,
Yes.
Piniac Costello.
Yes.
Thank you. Did you or Liz want to comment on this, or?
Yeah, Liz, did you want to comment, or you want me to?
So, looking at I know it's, I guess it's misleading, and I'm not sure, we don't really have an accurate, survey through there, but Maple Avenue, it's not that you can just build a road and, and stay on the grade. You're traversing some wetland areas. It's actually a 50-foot grade change based on our GIS from where Montcalm is down to the proximate center of the gully, and then back up to 7th Avenue. So it's not a simple construction. It would essentially be a bridge, and a bridge is not a small feat. It's extensive engineering and it's extensive construction. There's a lot of permitting involved. I don't feel like there is enough of a driving need for this to be something that the city proceed with. The neighborhood has access from James Street or not James Street. Yes, James Street. So honestly, that's kind of where I stand. The willingness of the city to fund something like this, it's beyond my control. But I just know that looking at it from an engineering perspective, it's not a simple construction.
All righty. Okay. Thank you very much, Superintendent Batista. Any comments from the committee? Comments from outside the committee? Any, Councilor Costello, any comments you'd like to make?
Well, I want to appreciate Mr. Gallant's work effort in regards to 246 signatures on a petition. That's a serious work effort. And a lot of people in that area would like to see this paper street turned into a city street. And I know in dealing with the law department, paper streets have been a problem. I've had recently another street where I've dealt with Attorney Riley in regards to a paper street and who owns property, who's responsible if something was to happen. And it's a difficult legal question when you have a paper street to answer some of those legal questions. So obviously, this is something I would be in favor of. I understand the superintendent's concern in regards to the intensity of the project and the expense. But I think it's time we start looking at these paper streets, because I spent hours on one paper street just answering a legal question with Attorney Riley and Attorney Corrigan. So paper streets are not easy. They get confusing, and I just think that this is a good idea. I think maybe we should start a study on all the paper streets. I mean, that's maybe an ambitious plan, but I find them very confusing, and sometimes I just can't get a 100% legal answer. Thank you.
Labrie?
Yeah, how many residents, if anybody knows here, are we talking about? Maybe Mr. Gallant knows, or how many residents are affected by that? I know there's 200 and something on the petition, but how many residents live on that paper street?
Yeah, no, that's what I wanted to know. Thank you. Anyone else want to speak on this? I mean, the only thing I was going to suggest is because the order before us is to accept it as a city street. At least from the input we've gotten from Doug and Liz, it sounds like that's not a reasonable expectation at this point. So my thought was that we would have a motion to deny, and then Counselor Costello, if you wanted to file an order to ask that they look into it, you know, that might be an alternative. But right now, the way it's worded, I don't think we could, you know, change anything to say we want to do a study. I think it would be kind of up or down whether it should be accepted as a city street, but I'll leave that up to you.
Well, the gentleman, Mr. Gallant, did indicate that he would like that street plowed. Can I ask him that question? Okay, no?
Well, we
All
have
right.
to open up public input, but I mean, he
Okay.
stated he did want to have it plowed, so.
Yeah. I don't know whether or not we could make sure that the street gets plowed until maybe a study is done.
Yes, Liz.
Hi, may I say?
Yeah. Liz, go ahead. Do you have an answer on about the plowing?
So we actually, I'm not sure what, so the section of Maple Avenue that actually has resident on it is the section that is off of Montcalm. And we actually are supposed to plow it. It's misleading. We have so many new people. I think it was missed. Because it doesn't look like a street. It looks like a shared driveway between two houses. So I have directed my staff to make sure that we put that on there because I believe we do have some utility drainage through there. So we will be plowing it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone else on the committee have any questions? Anyone off the committee? Anyone on Zoom have any questions or comments? Okay, I'm sorry. Go ahead, Counselor Costello.
Through the chair to the attorney, do we need something in writing indicating that there's a commitment to have the street plowed?
I'm not sure what you mean by that. I mean, you want a commitment from the DPW that they're gonna plow the street?
Right. Should it be in writing?
Well,
I don't think you need it in writing, but
Okay.
we've had this happen.
Go ahead, Counselor.
Yeah, we've had this happen many times for streets that forget to get plowed. And I think we should go on. I don't think we need to have someone written. We have our director of DPW telling us she's going to make sure it gets done. We can hold her accountable for that. And I trust she's going to do it. I would never want to sign something to make sure someone does it for the reason she just might have said. She has brand new people. So it may happen again. So who do we hold responsible for that one time? So I think Mary Beth is coming with the right reason, but I think we should leave it up to the DPW supervisor, Liz, because we've done it before, and it's clearly taken care of. And if it happens, I encourage the gentleman here. I gave our office number. I gave him, the DPW, and he can call himself to just make sure. And I'm sure Liz is going to make sure it gets done. I don't think we should be committing them to write something in writing. I've never seen that in all the years I've been on this.
I'm sorry, you may continue, Counselor.
Yeah,
Costello.
thank you. I just wanted to make sure that if that was part of the process or the procedure, the gentleman would know what the process is. But the verbal commitment by the superintendent of DPW is good enough for me.
And I think we could put that on file, have him write that down in the file.
Thank you.
That shows that she committed.
Thank you.
Okay, this is kind of what I have written down as some backup, material. Grading to be accepted as a city street would be extensive and expensive per engineering. 2, we have a verbal commitment from DPW to plow, Maple Avenue. But I need a motion on what we're gonna do with the order.
You want a motion to call, postpone to the call of the chair, or do you want a motion to deny?
I don't really think anything can happen to it. I mean, through our attorney.
You can't order a paper street to be accepted as
Right,
a process,
I
so maybe
think-
deny and then follow the process for that.
Right. I would say, if you wanna file, talk to Liz and Doug about filing orders, but I'd say you're right.
Yep,
You can't really do much.
planning, gotta go
with
through the DPW, there's a whole, I've been working on one for 5 years. Process.
that. So can I have, a
Motion to deny.
Okay. All right, please call the roll.
Councilors Crumpets,
Yes.
Labrie,
Yes.
Kushein,
Yes.
Pina Costello.
Yes.
And we have 4 in favor of the denial and, no one on Zoom. Will, come up, at tomorrow's, city council meeting.
Yes, it should.
And thank you for coming out tonight. Now back on to our, regular, agenda, starting off with item 1. Be it ordered that the Public Works Committee meet to discuss the approximate 2-mile stretch of Chicopee Street that has two different speed limits, a difference of 10 miles per hour. This order was, co-filed by Councilors Kushein and Lopez. I'll let, Councilor Kushein, take it since Councilor Lopez.
Yep, I actually wrote down the streets where they differ, but didn't make it to the order. But, so me and Doug have talked about this before, but nothing's happened, so I just wanted to get an update where north and south have 2 different speeds in that 2-mile stretch, based on the posted signs anyway.
Okay, so you have, the Y is kind of the delineation point. North of the Y, right now, we have 25-mile-an-hour speed limit signs out
So I'm
there.
not talking about the Y, actually, it stopped, well, the change starts at depending which way you're going, the police substation, and it goes all the way down to WACE. That stretch has 2 different speeds, north and south, based on the signs that you.
Okay,
see
from the
inside.
Y south, there's only one sign out there, and it's, one in each direction. It's 35 miles an hour,
So,
posted at the radio station in that
right, so
vicinity.
posted at the radio station traveling north, it's 35 miles an hour all the way to the substation. Coming from Holyoke, it's 25 miles all the way down to WACE. Because there's no signs delineating, there's no signs on either side where they match. So if you drive it, you'll see if you're coming from Holyoke and you take, the fork in the road, it's 25 miles an hour all the way down to WACE. But if you're coming from the center, it's 35 miles an hour all the way to past the Y to the substation.
Well, I would take it as the Y, because that's where an intersection is.
Right.
But I mean, it's very common for, speed limits to change on a road
Right.
quite frequently.
But you have the same road with 2 different speeds on one side of the road is 25, the other side is 35.
No, that's not how it's supposed to.
It is based on the posted signs.
Okay, well,
If you drive it, you'll see what I'm talking about.
we'll agree to disagree on that one, but, because I've looked at these a lot.
Right.
So what's
No
going
other signs after the Y that says
south of the Y?
south of the Y heading towards
There's
Chicopee
only
Center.
one,
It's
there's one each
25 miles an
direction.
hour. The sign never changes to 35 until WACE.
Correct.
When you're coming this way, north from the, say, Pride, there's a sign that says 35 miles an hour.
Mhm.
Nowhere does it say it changes to 25 until the substation,
Correct.
after the Y. So northbound is 35, southbound is 25, based on the current signage.
No, but
just-
it's 35, okay.
But as a driver, I can only go by the posted signs.
Right.
That's what the posted signs tell you.
There are 25-mile-an-hour speed limit signs in both directions north of the Y. South of the Y, the only place it's posted is near WAC, 35 miles an hour in each direction.
Right.
So
if you think about it, at WAC, you have a 35 mile an hour this way, and you have 35 miles going north. But on the other side of the road, it's 25 all the way down to WACE. And on the northbound side, it starts at 35 miles an hour and continues that because there's no signs that say it changes all the way to the substation. You have a street with two different speeds on each side. If you're the driver looking at posted speed limits.
Okay. There's not a change on each side.
There's no signs that tell you, there's no signs that make the road match each other.
Okay. All right. North of the Y, there was a reconstruction project done in 2001. And in that DOT reconstruction project, they put all 25-mile-an-hour speed limit signs on there, which is actually incorrect. Because there's a special speed regulation that the city entered into with it was actually Mass Highway at the time, with the DOT. And that special speed regulation is 30, 35, and then 30 again on the stretch from the Y, from the north end of the intersection Meadow and Chicopee to the Willimantic Bridge. And they're the same on each side, but that's the special speed regulation. That's not what's posted out there right now. Now, what's posted out there is incorrect, and it's 25.
Right, but even that, you're still got single road with two directions of travel with two different speed limits based on the posted signage that's there. Whether the one at WAC North maybe should say 25 miles an hour, because that would make them match because southbound, it doesn't turn 35 until WC going over to the underpass and all that stuff into the, coming into Chicopee Center. Northbound, it says 35 mile an hour northbound all the way, that whole stretch, that's 25 on the other side based on signage, all the way to the substation past the and that's based on current signage. I wrote down the streets that all those signs are posted at. So maybe the northbound side should have said 25, and that way, because ideally that road should be 35 mile an hour southbound, and then I'm assuming because of congestion, you could tell me better, that would be a 25 mile zone based on density.
I mean, right now, north of the Y, it's posted 25 miles an hour in each direction.
After the Y,
Well, that is,
right, let's just go by,
I have to say the
make
Y?
it easier, because there's only a few feet after the Y where it changes to 25.
The reason why I'm using the Y as a delineation point, because north of there's a special speed regulation that the city entered into with the Mass DOT.
Between the Y and Holyoke.
Between the Y and Holyoke.
I'm talking about the other side.
Which is for 30, 35, and 30. Right now, it's all posted 25, so it's actually posted incorrectly.
Right. But
it should be 30, 35, and 30.
South of the Y.
So south of the Y, it's posted as 35.
Only on the northbound side, not the southbound side. There's no 35 mile an hour speed limit sign.
Well, it's come down since
until
I've
you get to the WACE, but that stretch from the Y, Forest Street, all the way down the WACE is 25 based on the posted signage.
Where's their posted sign 25 miles an hour south of the Y?
Right where your flashing thing is, it says 25 miles an hour, or just before that. There's no other signs that tell you to change it. Right, the dynamic feedback sign.
Oh, okay, it's not a speed limit sign, it's a dynamic
before
feedback.
that, there's a 25 mile an hour sign, but there's no other sign all the way down to WC.
Correct.
There's nothing.
That's what I was just saying. There's
But
only one sign.
but it's 25 miles an hour. It doesn't ever change per signage, and that's the law. The signage changes the speed limit till the WACE, where it turns in 35, continuing into the center and all that. But if you're coming northbound at WACE, there is a 35 mile an hour sign just a little bit after, and that would continue all the way through the Y to the next posted sign, which is 25, which is afterwards. So you have 35 northbound, you have 25 southbound based on the signage.
But that's what I was just saying, is that the 25 is incorrectly posted. It should not be there.
South of the Y.
North of the Y.
No, I'm talking about south of the Y. I don't care about north of the Y. None of this has to do with north of the Y. On the south of the Y, based on the signs that are currently on the street, you have two different speeds on the same street. It's just not hard. If you drive it, you look at it. When's the next time?
But you're saying one's a dynamic speed sign.
Well, that's in between that's just after the speed limit posted sign for Chicopee Street, which doesn't change until.
Okay, when I looked at these a while back, there was only two 35 mile an hour speed limit signs at WAC, one in each direction. And that was it, south of the Y.
When you're driving southbound, the speed doesn't change to 35 until WAC, but from that point all the way to Forest Street, a little bit before that, it's 25 miles an hour. But you can't have.
Your speed limit is the speed limit that was last posted until you see something changing.
So that's what I'm saying. Only you see a sign when you're coming from Holyoke and you're bearing right to go to Chicopee Street, but you see a 25 mile an hour sign. You never see another sign until WACE, which says 35. Yes. When you're northbound, when you come to WACE, you see a 35 mile sign, and you don't see any other sign until you get past to the substation. So that means 35 northbound, 25 southbound.
Can I,
You look at it based on posted signs. Yeah, listen,
I'm gonna,
I'll let you cut in.
Did you wanna go ahead, or you want?
Yeah, if I could,
Councilor Flam,
instead of
and
this,
then,
I would like to see this, just order that the, DPW look at the, whether it
This
has,
is second order for this
okay,
problem.
and get it done, and, not only that, whether it's DOT or that, and, because we're going back and forth here, I'm a little confused, I'm not saying you're wrong,
Just
trust
drive
me.
it. You won't miss it.
No,
You can't
but I think
understand it.
I think it's clear, and I like to see too, it's just, you ordered them to do it, you asked them, I hate the word ordered, I don't like the word ordered. So I think Liz is pretty clear, and let them go back out there one more time and check it, and from the DOT standards, the DOT from the bridge.
Just from a driving standard, if I'm a
Yeah,
person driving a
I
car,
get-
see a
I
sign,
get that,
what's
but-
it tell me? Then it's
Bill,
two different speeds.
I get that, but I'm
Not
just
rocket
saying, we
science.
can go back and forth, he's thinking one thing, you're thinking, and just go take the ordinances and DOT requirements from the Y to the bridge, because that was a separate project, I remember that, and do what you're asking and verify
Not
it.
the bridge, we're only worried about, it's more southbound, there's very little bit north of the Y.
Because we're gonna go back and forth, and he has to really see it again,
Maybe we'll
whether,
drive together, so I can just point out.
well,
what
yeah, why don't you buy him a coffee and,
I mean, I'll buy you a coffee.
just have a cruiser
No.
behind you.
I
No,
got
just
lights on my
kidding.
car.
You all set?
Yeah, just,
Superintendent Batista?
so I think a real solution here is because we actually don't have 25-mile-an-hour ordinance or state speed limit there, we should actually be removing the 25-mile-an-hour speed limit signs and replacing those with what it should be, which is the 30, 35, 30. If the council wants to proceed with modifying the speed limit, we will have to appeal to the DOT to modify it, and then we should put it in ordinance, because I believe, based on Doug's research, we don't actually have an ordinance for the speed limit on Chicopee Street. So
I had
that's,
something from DOT that was in pencil. Shoot.
so it sounds like
I have with
DOT had, when they had redone Chicopee Street, they had put the speed limit posted on the plans as 25 miles per hour, but the plans are not an actual legal document. Those are a construction document. And because there is a special speed regulation, which is legal, right? It's filed with the state. I think that that's what we should be posting, and we should be following. But if we want to change it, we're going to have to appeal to them and request a change, because I believe we do have a traffic control agreement due to that project. But to simplify this, I think we should remove the speed limit signs that say 25, because it's not enforceable. So, you know, if anybody is exceeding the 25 miles an hour, but reality of it is they could actually be going as far as 30 to 35 in certain areas. That's really what we should be posting.
Do you need me to file an order to put those in effect, or can you just do it? Because
We'll
I don't
just-
care what
we
the
can-
speed is as much
No,
as
no,
I want
no.
it to be the same.
We'll do it, because Doug shared with me with all of his research today. So we're going to make that modification. But if we do want to in the future modify those speed limits, we're going to have to go through the process of requesting it through the state.
Anyone else? The room's empty, but I'll do it anyway. Anyone here for public input? Anyone's here for public input? Anyone on Zoom for public input? No one's here for public input on Zoom.
Motion to close public input.
Second motion to close public input. Please call the roll.
Counselor Crampits,
Yes.
Labrie,
Yes.
Kushein,
Yes.
Piniac Costello, Brooks.
Okay, and public input is closed. I guess.
Motion to place on file?
Is that satisfactory?
You just have to remember to change the dynamic speed sign to the right speed, so that it gives you the smiley face when it's supposed to and not.
Okay, and I'll second motion to place on file. Please call the roll.
Counselor Crampits,
Yes.
Labrie,
Yes.
Kushein,
Yes.
Piniac Costello.
Yes.
Okay, and the motion been placed on file has been approved 4-0 and no one on Zoom. We'll move on to item number 2. Be it ordered that the Public Works Committee meet to discuss the purchase of an overheight warning system for the Prospect Street train trestle. This order was filed by Councilor Corshane, so I'll let you start off.
Well, we actually already discussed this in finance. I don't think we need to rehash it now. So I would make a motion to place on file.
Okay.
I do have a price if anybody wants to know the price.
Yes, please.
So we got a quote from our vendor that for one direction of traffic for one set, it's between 75 and 85,000. So if we wanted to put them, I think on Buckley Boulevard and probably Yell, coming towards the Prospect Street Bridge, it'd be around 160. And we can, I don't think it's a bad idea, just sharing, and we can move forward with locations and put in a request to the mayor for an appropriation.
Would you think I know it's expensive, unfortunately, but we do get a lot of people that get stuck on the other side too, but I guess the trick is knowing which direction they come in the most. So do we do all 4 directions or one of the other side that's most hit?
Our vendor actually let us know that we actually cannot put it on the Chicopee Street side. There's nowhere for us to put it. There's too much conflict. Plus, that's an intersection where they would have to actually, take a hard turn into there. I think with the signage, it should be adequate. But I think our biggest culprits are, from what I've seen in my time here, the trucks that have gotten stuck have come from, what is that? The east side of the bridge from Buckley and Prospect area.
Right. Unfortunately, I've seen a lot on the other side too, and I think they're coming down Chicopee Street versus coming in through Holyoke. That's a tough one because, the data, unfortunately, like they said in our meeting, isn't 100% because it depends on what address they use and whatnot, so it makes it very difficult, I guess. I just thought with Chicopee Street, you had enough straightaway where you would be able to put the sign that up, so I'm a little surprised that there's not enough room. I guess even the Holyoke side might be not enough room, but with all that distance on Chicopee Street, we could warn them well enough ahead of time.
I just know, Bill, the last, I've been with the city for 6 years, and the last 6 years, I think I've seen 3 trucks get stuck under there. And the 3 that have gotten stuck under there have come from Buckley or Yell or.
Right. So I guess that's what, I'm not just talking about the ones that get stuck. I'm talking about the ones that have to stop. We need police presence to block traffic, to back them out. That happens a lot more. I've personally backed out more than a dozen trucks, luckily with my lights on my car and my gear. But I'm not just talking about cars that get stuck. And a lot of times, unfortunately, the calls for service probably don't get logged necessarily right when we're backing a truck up out of there. So that's the tough part, is that the data is very difficult to, figure out what the best situation is. But I mean, I'm certainly taking something versus nothing, but we'll just have to maybe pay more attention, maybe get the PD to be a little more thorough with their documentation.
Laflamme?
Yeah, thank you. I agree that these are needed, but I'm happy that if we do one side, because this helps, because we also have to, this is a lot of money, but, we have a lot of other signs that we're trying to do too throughout the city for public safety, whether it's Chicopee Street, but at least he's trying in one area. We'll try and see how it does. And I think that will show that our commitment to try to get it fixed and still take some monies and still do public safety with crosswalks and lights and that. So one side I think is good. That when I've always gone down there, it's always been on the other side. I don't go to Chicopee Street that side too much, but I do see, and I know about the backup there. The Chicopee Street site's a little bit easier because you can back up and get them to go towards Holyoke or that, where the other one, you either got the North Chicopee Street, you got the Prospect Street, you got the Yale Street, it's a four-way. So, and it's a lot tighter too. When everybody gets congested, at least on the Chicopee Street, they're pretty much going in one direction already. So,
Maybe there's
I'm in favor of doing, one side, especially at the cost. I was shocked when I got the cost.
Yeah.
I thought it was gold plated. But unfortunately, things cost a lot of money. So, I just, hope we just do one side for now and, try that.
Right.
And you were saying this was approved in finance, correct?
No.
We
We
okay.
I requested a dollar figure.
Okay, all right. Well, okay, so it was discussed, but okay. No.
Yeah.
Anyone else have any questions?
No.
I was gonna
I'm
do
just-
public input, but nobody's here, but,
Yeah, I'm happy with 50% of solution. That's still a benefit to the city, to PD and all that, obviously, and the people who get stuck in that traffic. So obviously it's better than nothing. And maybe there's some other low tech things. I mean, I don't know how many more signs I can put up telling somebody that your trailer is 2 feet too short. I mean, literally, we have 2 signs leading up to the intersection in all 4 directions. I really thought we had it nailed down when we went to 11.9 versus the 12.6. But, and they just follow the GPS, unfortunately. And I've talked to more than one driver about what they were doing. So maybe, I don't know if there's any other low-tech situation we can look at to hang some chains from a bar and say, if you hit this, it's too low, I mean, it's out there, but maybe there's something else we can do for the other side that's not costly, and just, but I appreciate the effort into getting at least this half done.
okay, all right. Anyone here for public input? No one's physically here in the audience. Anyone on Zoom, for this item about the signs? Anyone on Zoom, for public input on this item?
Motion to
Okay.
close public input.
Second that, please call the roll and close public input.
Councilors Crumpets,
Yes.
Labrie,
Yes.
Kushein,
Yes.
Piniac Costello.
Yes.
Okay, and any other questions? Okay,
Motion placed on file.
Motion placed, second motion placed on file. Please call the roll.
Councilors Crumpets,
Yes.
Labrie,
Yes.
Kushein, Piniac Costello.
Yes.
Pass it around, that would help. And by the way, I believe that these are not on tomorrow's agenda, so they'll be on.
Really? That's the
Next.
whole point of this meeting, was to get it on tomorrow's agenda. Well, I won't be here for the next time that it goes on the agenda. That was the whole.
I'll have to look.
The whole
I don't
reason for it
believe,
being today.
I'll have to,
Took the day off so I could beat tomorrow's meeting because of all these items.
well, I mean, double check your agenda. I don't want to be speaking out of turn, so.
Right, let me see.
I don't think they were, but I'll have to double check. Okay, and the, motion placed on file was approved 4-0 with nobody on Zoom. Okay, item 3. Be in order that the DPW look into the possibility of installing sidewalks from the corner of Malcolm Street and James Street to the corner of Whitsley Avenue and James Street. This would be on the south side of James Street and refer to the Public Works Committee for a public hearing. This order was filed by Councilor Piniac Costello, so I'll let her speak on it.
Yes, thanks. There was a petition, in regards to this request. The resident would like sidewalks on that particular side of James Street. And she had indicated that since there was going to be extensive work, and we appreciate that extensive work that's coming to Fairview, she felt that this would be a good idea to get sidewalks there if it's possible, because it is dangerous to walk that section of James Street. Children and adults and anybody, you're walking on the person's lawn in the snow. It's very difficult. And there is a concern of safety on James Street, that section that doesn't have sidewalks. Thank you.
Welcome. To the engineer Ellis, do you have any comments you'd like to make?
Well, we'll look into it and put a cost to it. See how much that would cost, and we can go from there.
Okay. It. Do it to get pricing. Is there anyone here for public input? No one's physically here for public input in the audience. Anyone on Zoom for this item for public input? One on Zoom for public input.
Motion to close public input.
Second to motion to close public input. Please call the roll.
Councilors Crumpets,
Yes.
Labrie,
Yes.
Kushein.
Yes.
Piniac Costello.
Yes.
Okay, and public input is closed. What should the order be? I mean, I know engineering said they'll look into it. but
Yeah, and
should
guess,
we place that-
a price,
Place
motion
on file, is that,
Or to the call of the
call
chair?
the chair.
okay,
Call of the chair.
Call the
Okay.
chair. Call the chair.
okay, motion,
Yeah,
Okay,
we
all
want
right.
to keep it alive, yeah.
okay, sounds good. Postpone. Motion to postpone to the call of chair. And that was your motion, correct? All right, I will second the motion to postpone to the call of the chair. Please call the roll.
Councilors Crumpets,
Yes.
Labrie,
Yes.
Kushein.
Yes.
Piniac Costello.
Yes.
I think so, but. And the order has been approved 4-0 and no one on Zoom. And I apologize, Bill, I just double checked, they are not on tomorrow's agenda.
My job easier. You're not gonna be there, right?
Cause I won't be there either, so. All right, item number 4. Be it ordered that the Blanchard Street study for traffic be referred to the Public Works Committee for a public hearing. And this order was filed by Councilor Piniac Costello, so I will let her take it off.
Yes, if we could also discuss item 11 at the same time, it's very similar.
I think we have to handle them one at a time.
Okay, we'll do that. Yes, basically, the residents did ask for a study for traffic on Blanchard Street. And, I was wondering if the engineer, city engineer has any comments on that.
Excuse me. We've actually done, 2 traffic studies on Blanchard, one in July of 2022, another in July of 23. In 22, there were 483 vehicles during the day with a 85th percentile speed, which means 85% of the cars are doing that speed or slower of 30 miles an hour. And in July of this year, it was down to about half that. It was 253 cars with the same 30 mile an hour, 85th percentile. So again, 85% of the cars are doing that speed or slower.
Thank you.
I'm sorry, can you just, the first study was done in when?
The first one was July 7th of 22. And then the next one was almost a year to the day. It was July 6th of 23.
And you're saying the volume of traffic dropped from what, 4?
Yeah, it was in 2022, the average daily count, this is both directions, was 483. And on the, 2023 study, it was down to 253. So it's about half the cars.
All right, and, Counselor Costello, you had some
Yeah,
questions?
where did the, where on Blanchard Street, was it closer
It
to
was at 34 Blanchard Street.
34 Blanchard? Okay.
Both of them were.
Okay. So that's interesting that July 7th, 2022, you had 483 cars during the day. And then July 6th, 2023, that dropped to 253. There was concern about the one-way on Old Lyman Road, that traffic would be rerouted down Britain into Blanchard, but that didn't happen.
Well, we don't have, the first study in July of 22 was done right after, it was a couple months after that, Old Lyman was made a one-way.
Okay.
So it seems like, at least from the two studies we have that are a year apart, that over time, people are doing alternate,
Right. So the
directions.
traffic, it doesn't look like increased the amount that some of the residents felt it did.
No, it decreased between our two studies.
And as far as the speed again, and I'm sorry, Doug,
The speed in both cases was 30 miles an hour, 85th percentile, which means 85% of the cars are going that speed or slower.
okay. Do you have like, I don't know, I did send you those questions and I, got it.
Well, we have different counting equipment
Yep.
now, and we're still figuring out how to get all the proper information out of that. But
Yep.
it's easy to see in the 22 study, all the cars, save for one in each direction, we're doing from 1 to 35. That's the way the tables are set up. So you had one car, this is the 22 study, one car going between 41 and 45, and one car doing between 36 and 40, and everybody else was going slower than 35.
Now, somebody did say that, they were going 60 miles an hour. Is that true? Did you have anybody go 60?
Not that we ever picked up. The new study, it doesn't quite present the information the same way, but it has a 100th percentile, which means it's counting all the cars, and the max speed is 37. So in that study, nobody was going faster than 37.
Okay. Oh, that's interesting. I appreciate that. Thank you.
Oh, you're welcome.
Any questions from the committee? Questions from outside the committee? Any questions from public input? Seeing that no one's here for public input? Anyone on Zoom on this item for public input? Anyone on Zoom?
Motion to close public input.
Seconded to close public input, please call the roll.
Councilors Crumpets,
Yes.
Labrie,
Yes.
Kushein,
Yes.
Piniac Costello.
Yes.
And public input is closed. I'm sorry, Liz, is there anything you wanted to add to this order, or anything you wanted to mention, or you're all set?
No, Doug, I was just gonna make sure that it was stated that we didn't actually get a traffic study done before the one-way was put in place. Because the one-way was implemented because once we went out there, after residents raised their concerns, it was so narrow that we made it a one-way, but we hadn't at the time put the traffic counters on Blanchard. But as Doug said, it seems that with the change, motorists changed their behavior. So, and their behavior was not to impact Blanchard. Probably they probably filtered down College Street now or something. That's all.
All right, thank you. Motion, second to motion to place on file. Please call the roll.
Councilors Crumpets,
Yes.
Labrie,
Yes.
Kushein,
Yes.
Piniac Costello.
Yes.
was 1941.
1941.
Yeah, star.
Motion to place on file has been approved 4-0 with, no one on Zoom. Item number 5, be it ordered that the Public Works Committee meet to discuss the status of sidewalk installation on Pendleton Avenue between Prospect Street and Seymour Drive. This order was filed by Councilor Corshain, so I'll turn it over to him.
Yep, many years ago, when we actually had money to spend on road work, we were asked, me and Councilman McCullough were asked by the DPW to spend it on that stretch of road so that we could get sidewalks through the Safe Routes to School program. It's been, gosh, I don't know, many years, and nothing's happened. So I want to get an update on the sidewalks.
Okay. Mr. Ellis?
Before you.
Can I?
Yeah, I was gonna say, I didn't quite, Yeah.
Go ahead, Ms. Batista.
Sorry, I just, he mentioned safe routes to school, so I just wanted to make sure that, I think I was probably more involved in that than Doug was initially. And so safe
Doug
routes to
wasn't here
schools,
then.
Safe Routes to Schools project is actually on Telegraph. And I believe a crossing at, Prospect, I think. So, it was never going to be on Pendleton.
Well, at the time, Chris Chabin said he asked us to spend that money there specifically to get the sidewalks through that program, but, so
And it
that's
didn't
why
work out.
reluctantly. Yeah, because McCullough, he wasn't happy about doing it. I was fine with paving that road because it was a disaster anyway. But, we would have probably spent the money somewhere else. But, okay, I appreciate the update though, so I won't have to worry about that anymore.
But just to kind of speak to the ability to put sidewalk there, I mean, there is sidewalk up until that farmhouse.
Mhm.
And the problem there is that, to get you back to, Simard, on either side, you're either, dealing with a steep slope down or a steep slope
Mhm.
up, and to allow for us to be able to put in sidewalks, there would be walls. And so it would be, a significant project.
Yeah, understood.
There is a resident who
Thank you, though.
used to work for the city who's been plugging for sidewalks for some time now, but unfortunately we haven't been able to give him that. So,
Right. No, I definitely on the board. One side, it's not a great spot to put one, or, logistically, it's gonna be a nightmare, so I get that.
And those improvements were done on Telegraph Ave?
No, between Prospect
No,
and Seymour.
where the money
Oh, I don't
that
know.
was actually done. I'm sorry, Liz, did you say the
no,
work
the
was
safe-
done on Telegraph Ave?
it's not done yet. That project was approved by Safe Routes to Schools.
Oh, okay.
And it's in process. I think not till maybe 2026 is when it's supposed to actually happen. We haven't heard much, but we just know that it was approved for that funding.
It might be done in 2026.
It doesn't relate to this one.
Any other questions? Okay. Anybody here for public input? No one's in the audience for public input, so anyone on Zoom for this item for, public input? Anyone on Zoom for public input?
Motion to close public input.
Second motion to close public input, please call the roll.
Councilors Crumpets,
Yes.
Labrie,
Yes.
Kushein,
Yes.
Piniac Costello.
Okay. All right, any, I guess, motion to place
Motion
on
to
file?
place on file.
Okay. Motion to place on file by Councilor Corshain. And please call the roll.
Councilors Crumpets,
Yes.
Labrie,
Yes.
Kushein,
Yes.
Piniac Costello.
And the order has been approved, placed on file 4-0 with no one on Zoom. Item number 6, the order that the Public Works Committee meet to discuss the status of reconfiguring of the bridge height / no truck signs on the approach to the Prospect Street train trestle. This order was filed by Councilor Corshane, so I'll let Councilor Corshane speak on it.
Back when we were in the field, Doug and I, Doug educated me on the, how the configuration of the signs was actually improper. We actually have a truck exclusion versus a truck informational because of them being on different poles. If you remember how they're separated when they should be on one, that's how, the way I understood it, that you explained it to me. And then you said we could probably do better on Buckley Boulevard with the placement of the signs, getting those moved so they'd be more efficient. So, but nothing's happened, so I just wanted to know.
The bridge height signs?
Yeah, the ones that are there, when you mentioned that, when you had the no truck sign on a post, that's a truck exclusion, which we can't do without DOT approval. And then you have the height and the arrow on a separate pole, which if you put them together, it makes it informational versus an exclusion. So I just didn't want to have anything that was improper, at least on the education you gave me that day. And then you had mentioned we could do better with the signs on Buckley Boulevard placement wise.
Okay.
So anything we can do to make it better, obviously.
Doug or Liz, is there anything you wanted to add to this? It
Yeah, we'll
sounds
check
like
the
it's in
placement of those
progress.
signs and correct anything we see wrong.
Sorry, what was that?
I said, we'll check the,
All right,
how those signs are
so you're working on
arranged,
that,
and if
Doug.
there's
Okay.
anything, we'll fix that.
All right. Anyone on the committee have any other questions? Anyone, the councilors have any questions? Anyone for public input? No one's here for public input. Anyone on Zoom for public input? Anyone on Zoom for public input?
Motion to close public input.
Second to, close public input. Please call the roll.
Councilors Crumpets,
Yes.
Labrie,
Yes.
Kushein.
Yes.
Piniac Costello.
Yes.
And I'm gonna guess this is probably gonna be a motion to, postpone the call of the chair, or
Yeah, we can. I mean,
Or whatever,
I trust them to
I'm
get
just-
it done.
whatever you wanna do, whatever you'd like, prefer
You
to
can
do.
place on file. I mean,
Okay.
I'll bug them by email next time.
All right. Motion on file. Okay, motion to place on file. Please call the roll.
Councilors Crumpets,
Yes.
Labrie,
Yes.
Kushein.
Yes.
Piniac Costello.
Yes. Yes.
And the motion to place on file has been approved 4-0 with no one on Zoom. Order number 7. Be it ordered that the Public Works Committee meet to discuss possible installation of additional dynamic speed signs on Chicopee Street south of the Y. This was, co-filed by Councilors Corshane and Lopez, so I will let Councilor Corshane, talk about this.
Question, we're just here to get the answer.
Okay.
I know they're not cheap. I'm sure everything's expensive, but if we could remind some people on that, you have a very long stretch with no speed limit signs, so people tend to forget 2 blocks after. So I don't know if that's a possibility to get on that long stretch from all the way through Council Lopez is more of her ward than mine at the end of the day, but
Yeah, we'll look into that. I don't know if Liz has any comment on that one.
So when it comes to speed indicator signs, we kind of to the board counselor to better share exactly where you would like to see one. So if you just want to send me a location and we can mark it out. We have equipment, so that's not an issue. We can put one there.
Is there a preferred distance between the one that's installed already on Chicopee Street versus the next one per se? So, I mean, I would leave that placement up to you honestly, because you know better than me where they should go. But is there like, I know like crosswalks, everything has specific distances between. Anything you can recommend for a distance for me to pick something?
I think, I mean, I don't believe there's an actual set distance. There's probably a recommendation. But
Yeah.
I think that Chicopee Street is long enough that, I mean, I'd have to go, I don't know, I can't recall exactly where the current one is.
Just after the fork, and literally after the fork in the road, a couple of feet after where the road splits, it's right there at the split.
At the
So
Y?
it's a very, we're at the wire. It's right. There's a church there, but literally it's not even a block between
So then I would,
sign and where the traffic light is.
so then I guess that if it's, I would, in my opinion, yes, then it'd be probably more so in Counselor Lopez's ward that this would fall. If I'm thinking speeding, I'm thinking somewhere on Chicopee Street, like where like near Sign Techniques where it's bending. I mean, where we're having that issue right now. Well, we're going to be looking into potentially a signalized intersection at McKinstry, Chicopee Street, and I think that's Jones Ferry Road.
Maybe somewhere in the middle between that.
Yeah, we can look. I mean, if there's somewhere specific that you guys, you and Counselor Lopez were thinking, you can kind of share with me. Maybe we can come up with something that, like a suggestion based on where you guys feel like that it's, you're seeing, or residents are saying there's a high speeding. It's more of a visual deterrent, right? Although we do find that sometimes it does promote a little bit to see. We do stop it from recording, so where it doesn't tell you the speed once it gets to a certain certain number. But
So if they're like racing, it won't show
Yeah,
how fast
right.
they're going, I think. Yeah.
Okay. No, but thank you. I appreciate that.
Any comments from anyone on the committee? Any comments from anyone outside the committee? Anyone for public input? No one's physically here for public input. Anyone on Zoom for public input? Anyone on Zoom for public input?
Motion to close public input.
Second motion to close public input. Please call the roll.
Councilors Crampas,
Yes.
Labrie,
Yes.
Kushein,
Yes.
Piniac Costello.
Yes.
Okay, and Bill, since you're here, what would you like the motion to be placed on file
Yeah,
or?
place on file.
Okay. Motion to, place on file, please call the roll.
Councilors Crampas,
Yes?
Labrie,
Yes.
Kushein,
Yes.
Piniac Costello.
Yes.
Okay, the motion to place on file has been approved 4-0 with no one on Zoom. Item number 8. Be it ordered that the Public Works Committee meet to discuss the status of additional speed limit signs on Chicopee Street per the previously filed order. And this order was filed, co-sponsored by Councilors Corshane and Councilor Lopez, and I will let Councilor Corshane speak on it.
Yep. So it kind of falls with the other sign thing. There was just a 2-mile stretch with no speed limit signs. And again, I don't know what the requirement is, but it seems like a long stretch to not remind people. But since we're going to be fixing the speed limits anyway per the proper orders, can we get additional signage put up in between? Or I don't know where the speed limits, because you said it's got 3 different speed limits, so maybe inherently it's going to create its own bridging of the gap there with the signs because of the changes. So I don't know if that's a possibility to get some additional signs in that stretch when we get things fixed up.
Sorry.
Go ahead, Liz.
When we go and address the speed limits, we'll definitely look at whether or not we have enough signage to properly show and remind motorists what the speed limit is. I'm not sure
Thank you.
what the minimum is, but, or how many we
Right.
should have out there, but we'll make sure that we have enough signage so that people don't forget what the speed limit is.
Appreciate it.
Anyone else, on the committee? Off the committee? Anyone for public input? No one's here physically in the audience for public input. Anyone on Zoom for public input? Anyone on Zoom for public input for this item?
Motion to close public input.
Second, motion to close public input. Please call the roll.
Councilors Crumpets,
Yes.
Labrie,
Yes.
Kushein,
Yes.
Piniac Costello.
Yes.
Public input is closed. What would you like the motion to be, Bill? Place on file? Okay.
Yep, no reason to make it linger.
Counselor Crochet wishes to motion to place on file. Please call the roll.
Councilors Crumpets,
Yes.
Labrie,
Yes.
Kushein,
Yes.
Piniac Costello.
Yes.
Okay, the motion to place on file has been approved 4-0 with no one on Zoom. Item number 9, be it ordered that the Public Works Committee meet to discuss use of in-road crosswalk signs with beacon where additional crosswalk safety improvements are not being made. And this order was filed by Councilor Crochet, so I'll let him speak on it.
Yep, I know we're beating a dead horse here, but I took to heart what you had mentioned, Liz, in our neighborhood meeting about facts and figures, because, you know, I agree, I'm a little bit of a nerd when it comes to that stuff. But because in our public safety meeting, you would say the only problem is that a lot of these drivers use them as targets. They just hit them over and they just hit them. That's a quote from the meeting. I know in our email exchange, you mentioned the sign that you had in Ludlow got hit all the time, and that's why you were basing your decisions to not do them on Chicopee Street. But I just want to say, I mean, they're used all over the place. There are dozens in Springfield. I took some pictures of the ones that are used in Springfield. They're a little bit different than what I'm proposing because they don't hinge. And then South Hadley uses them. They actually use the hinged one. I talked to Chief Tribaushi of the Springfield College PD. He's going to email me this week with how successful they have been in his area. He's got dozens of them throughout the city on their campus. There was a journal, or the Journal of Traffic and Transportation Engineering published a white paper that was done by the Transportation Research Center at Howard University in Washington, D.C. And just a quick highlight, because I don't want to beat the horse even more dead than it is. But a higher percentage of drivers yielded to pedestrians with the R16A sign compared to the W11-2 sign. So for those people who don't know, the R1 sign is the hinge sign in the middle of the street. It's on the divided line, and then the R12 is actually, or the R11 is actually the pedestrian sign that's on the post. 73% of the pedestrians agreed the experimental R16A sign required drivers yield for pedestrians to cross. 92% of the drivers agreed yielding to pedestrians at crosswalks with the R16A sign. No statistically significant differences were observed with or without the RFBs. So again, this is just, and it's not every crosswalk, but we can get them staggered on the in between, every other, however it would work. Specifically, the ones I'm looking at and looked at through TopCo had the beacon on top, which I think will, you know, distracted driving is probably the number one reason why pedestrians get hit on. Secondly, is the pedestrians not paying attention when they cross. So it's, you know, it's not one or the other, but a flashing beacon on top of the sign, I think, will at least undistract that driver as they're driving down the road, especially at night, because it's going to get your attention, and hopefully it gets your attention that there's somebody in the crosswalk. So, you know, I have to keep doing what my constituents want, which is to try to make this area safer. So that's why I'm just hoping to discuss it again. And, you know, I'm getting the facts and figures like you wanted. I found some studies. I'm going to get some firsthand experiences from Mount Holyoke College as well as Springfield College, and get their opinions. And, you know, it doesn't work for everybody. I understand that, but we won't know if it works for us till we try it. So even if we start off with one, I'd be happy. Let's give it let's see how it works and go from there. You know, if it gets beat up, then okay. But if it doesn't, then maybe it works. And we save some lives.
Can I,
Doug or Liz, do you have any comment? Liz, go ahead.
sorry, Fred. It's hard for me to like get your attention. Um, so we do have some in-house that we've used for when it's the, I believe for the the farmer's market that, so this is what I'm going to suggest. Before we spend money on any with a beacon, I have some at DPW. I'll put some out there on Chicopee Street. But if they do get ruined, you know, if they become something that we continue, I just, it's not working. I don't want us to start buying all of these things and placing them all over because, you know, the colleges that you mentioned, maybe that they're working for them. Those are different situations. It's not going to be the same as Chicopee Street. We have so much that we are doing right now at Chicopee Street with the medians and the RRFBs and the crosswalks. We can just kind of compromise here. We could put some out there, see how it works, what we already have in-house versus going out and purchasing a different, you know, the one, I don't know, the one with the beacon on it. I don't have any with a beacon, but we have just the plain ones. So I can have some put out there and see how they work.
Thank you for that.
Anyone on the committee have a question? Councilor Zagorowski?
Well, we don't have anything out yet. There's one on East Main Street that's still there, and it's been faring pretty well for a pretty traveled street. It doesn't look like it's sustained any damage. I know that sign was supposed to be temporary, but it's still out there every day. East Main, excuse me, East Main.
Main's by probably Canterbury?
Yeah, right after the Larry's. Yep. I mean, it's faring pretty well, but no, it's like $400 with the beacon from the last price that I got from Topco. But you can buy these on Amazon. I mean, they're everywhere. But surprisingly, the ones in Springfield aren't hinged, and they don't seem to be getting destroyed. Which they're older signs probably, but newer ones come out of hinge so they can bounce back. But yeah, so they're not terribly expensive. But I agree, if we have a couple in house, let's test it out with what we have. I don't want to waste any money either. And then we can go from there.
I have a question for either you, Bill, or someone, an engineer might be answering. The beacons, are they on continuously, or are they somehow like motion activated so that they sense if somebody?
It's just like, remember the barrels when you had the flashing light for
Right.
construction?
So
To me, that's what it looks like.
Yeah,
I'm not sure if it's flashing all the time, but even if it is during the day, it's still going to get your attention because it's bright. You know.
I just wasn't
So
sure
I would hope it's flashing all the time.
It does flash.
I'm all
the
set.
time.
Thank.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. What was that, Liz?
It does flash all the time. Once you turn them on, you have to go manually shut them off. They don't.
All right. It's like it's like the barrels with the lights. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you. Anyone else have any questions? Anyone in public input have any questions? There's no one here physically for public input. Anyone on Zoom for public input on this issue? Anyone on Zoom
Hey,
on
Fred,
public input for this issue?
We do public input.
Yeah, go ahead.
I don't have public
Go ahead,
input.
Liz.
I know, sorry. I have to leave the meeting. Doug should be good. I have to go take care of something.
Okay.
I'm
All right.
sorry.
Well, thank you for your participation tonight. That's okay.
Thank you.
Public input.
Motion to
All right,
close
bye-bye.
public input. Second it.
Bye.
Please call the roll.
Councilors Crumpets,
Yes.
Labrie,
Yes.
Kushein,
Yes.
Piniac Costello.
Okay, public input is closed. Would you like any other input?
Motion to place on file, Bill?
Bill, do you want this to be placed on file or?
Motion to place on file.
Motion to place on file. And please call the roll to place on file.
Councilors Crumpets,
Yes.
Labrie,
Yes.
Kushein,
Yes.
Piniac Costello.
Yes.
Thinking along, all right.
Most of this public input we've done already.
All righty, and motion to place on file has been approved 4-0. All righty, item number 10. Be it ordered that the DPW look into the condition of Griffith Road and present their findings to the Public Works Committee for a public hearing. This order was co-filed by Councilors Dobis and Piniac Costello. I will let Councilor Costello speak on it.
Yes, Griffith Road is the, road that is, involved with the Westover, business area off of, James Street. And for many years, Griffith Road was not in very good condition. And also, it was owned by three different agencies. One was the Navy Department, one was WMDC, and the other was the city of Chicopee. So we just want to update on what's happening with Griffith Road, and I'll ask Doug Ellis to talk about that.
Okay.
Yeah, so Griffith Road definitely needs to be redone. We were looking into repaving it. Of course, as Councilor Piniac Costello said, we have 3 different ownerships. So we're in the process. We have Ed Chapdelaine working on a plan for us so that we can do an eminent domain taking of those pieces that aren't owned by the city now. Because the problem is you can't use Chapter 90 money on anything that's not a public accepted street. We can't accept the street with, so we got to go through that process of taking the eminent domain so then we can work on the street. So that's what we're working on right now.
Thank you.
Anyone else on this? Anyone for public input? Anyone's in the audience for public input? Anyone on Zoom for public input on this order? Anyone on Zoom for public input on this order?
Motion to close public input.
Seconded motion to close public input. Please call the roll.
Crumpets,
Yes.
Labrie,
Yes.
Kushein,
Yes.
Piniac Costello.
Yes.
Public input is closed. And Doug, you said one of the things that you're looking at now, I mean, you're looking into the repaving, but you're looking to determine land takings, is that it?
Yes, we got to prepare the map first, and then we would go through the process of land takings.
Okay.
We want to place on file.
Motion, second motion to place on file. Please call the roll.
Councilors Crumpets,
Yes.
Labrie,
Yes.
Kushein,
Yes.
Piniac Costello.
Yes.
And the motion to place on file has been approved 4-0 with no one on Zoom. Item number 11, be it ordered that a traffic study be done by Chicopee DPW on Blanchard Street, including signage, and be sent to the Public Works Committee for a public hearing. And this order was filed by Councilor Piniac Costello, so I'll let her speak on it.
Okay, so we already discussed in detail the traffic study that was done in July of 2022 and July of 2023. But this order asked about signage and if signage would be necessary based on the traffic study. So I would like Engineer Ellis to comment on that.
Okay, well, what I'm wondering is what kind of signage we're looking for.
Well, I didn't know if you needed speed limit signs, slow children signs, but it looks like speeding doesn't seem to be a problem. And
No,
it's
not from our studies, yeah.
No. So, so at this time, you're probably not going to recommend any type of signage because there doesn't seem to be a need for that based on the study.
Correct.
Yeah. This is important, the fact that we did get this study done. Thank you. Doug?
Anyone else on the committee? Okay. Anyone here for public input? No one's here for public input. Anyone on Zoom for public input on this order? Anyone on Zoom on public input for this order?
Motion to close public input.
Close, oh, I got it.
Oh, okay. Public input is closed. Counselor Corshane, you had a comment you wanted to make?
Give props to Doug and his team, because when I first got on the council, it would take 4 to 5 years to get a traffic study. And I know when I got on, people have been waiting 7, I think you guys were waiting 7 years or more to get a traffic study done. Years, not months, so thank you.
Well, thank you for the kind words.
I'm not even joking, I remember.
We do
somebody
try.
saying They were waiting 7 years when I first got elected, and they still haven't gotten it done.
Oh.
So I always cringe when I hear traffic study.
And I would like to also compliment the engineering staff and DPW team, because they get back with the information and studies sooner than later, and that's appreciated by my constituents.
Thank you.
Counselor Crampits?
Wait a minute, we don't have a,
Place on file, is that we did?
No,
No, I thought you had a motion.
motion to place on file.
No, you didn't motion to close public input.
Yes,
Oh, okay.
I didn't call a roll.
yeah, we
I
did.
did my comment after we closed it.
And then we took a roll call and then he made a comment.
Yeah, he did, after the roll call for public input, he made the comment. Well, if you want to do it again, that's fine.
Yeah, you didn't write it down?
Okay.
Okay.
Counselor Crampits?
This is for closing public input, yes. Yes, on item number 11.
Crampits?
Yes.
Labrie?
Yes.
Kushein?
Yes.
Piniac Costello?
Yes.
The recording will tell, won't it?
So public input is officially closed. And, can you just repeat it, Counselor, Costello?
Motion
place on
to
file?
place on file, please.
I just have a note on here, speeding not determined to be a problem by traffic studies on Blanchard. No additional signage needed at this time. And I second the motion to place on file. Please call the roll, to place on file?
Counselors Crampits?
Yes.
Labrie?
Yes.
Kushein?
Yes.
Piniac Costello?
Yes.
Okay, and the motion placed on file has been approved 4-0, and no one on Zoom. Item number 12, be it ordered that the DPW review the condition of the road on Prospect Street from the corner of James Street beginning at 800 Prospect Street to the corner of Prospect and Memorial Drive, and report to the Public Works Committee for a public hearing. This order was filed by Councilor Piniac Costello, so I'll let her speak on it.
Yes, there have been some concerns by the residents that live on Prospect Street and around there, that the condition of Prospect Street in that area has deteriorated. And there was a concern if that street could be added to a list sooner than later to be looked at for repairs. Thank you. I'll ask Alice for a comment.
Okay, Doug, do you have any comments on this?
I mean, we are aware of the condition of that section of Prospect Street. It is on our radar now. We'll be looking to get that on the list at some point. I'm not sure, you know, there are other roads that are even worse than that. And, you know, we try, when we're doing these, we try to hit the worst roads, always with a priority on main roads, of course. We try to hit these side streets, and we do try to spread them out, you know, in each ward, so that, you know, one's getting done. And if one didn't get one, you know, one ward didn't get it done one year, it would be the next, that kind of thing. So we're really always trying to spread that around.
Thank you.
Okay, so just to kind of summarize it, Doug, engineering is aware and it's on a list for future work.
Yes.
Any other questions from the committee? Anyone here for public input? No one's physically here for public input. Anyone on Zoom for public input? Anyone on Zoom for public input? No one's, no
Motion to
one's on
close
Zoom.
then, public input.
Second the motion to close public input.
Councilors Crumpets,
Yes.
Labrie,
Yes.
Kushein,
Yes.
Piniac Costello.
Yes.
Public input is closed. What would you like the motion to be, Councilor?
Motion to place on file, please.
All righty, motion to place on file, please call the roll.
Councilors Crumpets,
Yes.
Labrie,
Yes.
Kushein,
Yes.
Piniac Costello.
Yes.
I figured 8:30 if we didn't talk 20 minutes on each subject.
Okay, and the motion placed on file has been approved 4-0, no one on Zoom. Item 13. Be it ordered that DPW perform a traffic study at the intersection of Montcalm Street and Prospect Street in front of Cumberland Farms and present the study to the Public Works Committee for a public hearing. This order was filed by Councilor Piniac Costello, so I'll let her speak on it.
Yes, this intersection can be very dangerous. There have been accidents there. Doug and I walked the street several times, and one time we noticed that the blinking light on Prospect Street wasn't working. So within an hour after Engineer Ellis left, I made a call to DPW and that blinking light was replaced immediately. So the blinking light on Prospect Street is now working, but there's a lot of traffic there. It's hard to get out of Prospect onto Montcalm because of the Cumberland Farms being there, and there's a little bit of blockage there. So I'll ask the chair to turn it over to Engineer Ellis.
Okay, Mr. Ellis?
Okay, so now, as I understand it, this traffic study is being requested for the possibility of putting a light there, correct?
Yes.
Yeah, so we've asked VHB for, who does a lot of work with our traffic, matter of fact, they're designing our roundabout, for a proposal on that. They've given us one, so now we're just trying to figure out, you know, how we're gonna pay for that.
Okay,
It's, so we do have a proposal from them.
okay, thank you.
I don't know if it's something we, you know, can handle in the in-house or if an appropriation will have to be sought, but
Oh, expensive.
it's $8,000.
Oh, that's
It's just for the study to,
oh,
you know, for the warrant, not the design of the
I was
signal.
gonna say, that's
That
what
would be
considering my warning
cheap,
system is
yes.
$80,000.
It's for the study.
All right.
And it's, you know, it's a lot, you have to look at a lot more than we look at, you know, who's turning what, you know, what direction they're turning it, and they're simultaneous, so it's something that we would definitely ask for. That's why we asked for a proposal.
Okay, so engineering is looking to fund the proposal for a traffic study. Anyone else want to speak on this? Anyone here for public input? No one's in the audience for public input. Anyone on Zoom for public input? Anyone on Zoom for public input?
Right.
Mr. Woodbury?
Yeah,
Motion to
you're-
close public input.
Second, to close public input, please call the roll.
Councilors Crumpets,
Yes.
Labrie,
Yes.
Kushein,
Yes.
Piniac Costello.
Yes.
And Councilor Costello, what would you like the motion?
I would like the motion to read, since there's money involved and this is going to be a little bit time consuming, motion to continue it to the call of the chair.
Okay. Motion to postpone
Excuse me.
to the call of the chair.
Can I ask a question to
Go
the
ahead.
attorney through the chair? On the, motion postponed to the call of the chair, does that die at the end of the year, or does that stay active?
Yes.
Okay, so you gotta bring it back anyway if it doesn't happen.
Because it's part of this session, this city council session. So when the session ends, so basically it's at the swearing in, the start of the new city council year.
Okay.
Thank you. Motion, please call the roll for the motion to postpone to the call of the chair.
Councilors Crumpets?
Yes.
Labrie? Labrie?
Yes.
Kushein?
Yes.
Piniac Costello?
Yes.
Okay, and the order to postpone the call of the chair has been approved 4-0. Item number 14, be it ordered that DPW review the conditions of the road on Anson Street and report to the Public Works Committee for a public hearing. And this order was filed by Councilor Piniac Costello, so I will turn it over to her.
Yes, this is, a street that's, off of, Blanchard Street. And it's a street that's had work done. However, there's still some work that has to be done. The residents are concerned about the condition of the street and, wanted DPW to look at it and, to make some sort of comment about Anson Street, its condition, and what can be done. Thank you.
Mr. Ellis, could you
Yeah.
comment?
I know, what really needs to happen out there is the reconstruction of Anson Street. It is not in good shape. One of the issues with Anson Street, like Griffith, it is not, has not been formally accepted by the city council. The entire street, half of it has not on Anson. So there's surprising some of the roads that aren't accepted yet.
I found some stuff out myself.
So yeah, I know there was a movement some years back before I had started that, many streets were accepted and, there was a big movement to do that. But Anson Street, approximately half of it has not been formally accepted. So we'd have to, again, do the whole, get the layout and have it formally accepted by the city council. In this case, we wouldn't have to do eminent domain takings because no one lays claim to owning that, but, it's not formally accepted. So we have to have somebody like Ed Chapdelaine do a layout plan to have it accepted.
So I'll call you on this tomorrow or see what the next step can be done by myself to kind of address this issue. Can I call you on this?
Yeah, oh yeah, absolutely.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, any questions from the committee? Anyone here for public input? No one's in the audience for public input. Anyone on Zoom for public input? Anyone on Zoom for public input? No one on Zoom for public input?
Motion to close public input.
Second, the order to close public input, please call the roll.
Councilors Crumpets?
Yes.
Labrie?
Yes.
Kushein?
Yes.
Piniac Costello?
Yes.
And public input is closed. Can I have a motion, Councilor Costello?
Yeah, a motion, to,
It's gonna die in committee.
yeah, it's gonna die.
It does.
Yeah, so, place on file, yeah. 'Cause there's other action that has to be taken, yeah.
For years, yeah. I've been working.
Motion to, second the motion to place
Coming
on
close,
file.
but-
Please call the roll to place on
Councilors
file.
Crumpets?
Yes.
Labrie?
Yes.
Kushein?
Yes.
Piniac Costello?
Yes.
Or process.
And the order to place on file has been approved 4-0 with no one on Zoom. Item number 15. Be it ordered that a truck route study for west side of James Street from Prospect Street to Cyrick Street to be performed by DPW and referred to the Public Works Committee for a public hearing. This order was filed by Councilor Piniac Costello, so I will turn it over to her.
Yes, this was a request by a constituent in regards to the truck route study on the west side of James Street, from Prospect to, Cyrick Street. If I could have Engineer
Mr.
Ellis
Ellis,
make a
any
comment on
comments?
this.
Yeah, on James Street, we can't do a truck exclusion on James Street. We just obtained, last year, a truck exclusion for Britton Street and New Ludlow Road. So James Street is the designated truck route coming up out of South Hadley, so we cannot, restrict trucks on that
Okay, thank you.
because of what happened before.
I'm going to say the truck exclusion cannot be done as other surrounding streets already have truck exclusion. Okay, any other questions? Anyone for public input? No one's in public input. We're physically here for public input. Anyone on Zoom for public input? Anyone for public input on Zoom? No one's on Zoom for public input. Motion seconded to close public input. Please call the roll.
Councilors Crumpets,
Yes.
Labrie,
Yes.
Kushein,
Yes.
Piniac Costello.
Yes,
Gonna be mumbling that tomorrow all day. Can I have a motion?
yes, motion to place on file.
Motion to. Second the motion to place on file. Please call the roll.
Councilors Crumpets,
Yes.
Labrie,
Yes.
Kushein,
Yes.
Piniac Costello.
Yes.
And the motion to place on file has been approved 4-0 with no one on Zoom. 16 and 17 we already did. Item 18. Be it ordered that DPW install rumble strips on Irene Street at the intersection of Ingham Street. This order was filed by Councilor Crochet, so I will turn it over to him to speak on it.
It's actually a consent request because I guess a lot of people are going, well, Irene Street's a racetrack and they speed through the stop sign and they don't stop. So constituents wanted rumble strips put in because, maybe the second time around they'll stop speeding because you won't want to hit them more than once. As human nature is, it's the same people usually speeding over and over. So that's why I brought it forward. I have seen it done in other communities, so thought maybe we could give it a try here as a test and see what happens.
Okay, you're talking about transverse rumble strip across the street, across the lane? Yeah, the problem with those is that, you dig those in and then they freeze, during the winter, and now people are coming along and can't stop because there's all this ice in the road.
Wouldn't you pitch it so that it drains? When you
But
put
it's
it
still,
through?
it's still dug in,
Yeah.
so that's, if the issue is people trying to, are not paying attention there, maybe we could try the lighted stop signs there, would be our first suggestion. See if that helps.
Do I need to put an order in for that, or can I just ask you to do it?
I think we could just do that. Yeah, I'll bring that to Liz.
I'm sure the neighbors will be happy, at least see something.
Something happened,
going on.
yeah.
What did you ask him to do?
He's actually offered to put in the flashing stop sign.
Oh,
And actually, ironically, part of the, my conversation with the chief of police for Springfield College, they put a lot of those in too because they've become very effective, he said. So ironically, that's, for today.
flashing stop sign.
So that would be more on Irene,
Yeah,
Hang on.
the stop sign's on Irene Street.
on Irene, yeah.
We put nice 6-inch deep rumble strips that'll really get their attention.
They're loud.
Well, it's only loud when you're driving through them. When you stop, you wouldn't really make a lot of noise.
But the person who lives right there
Yeah,
is gonna know
when you're going a
everything.
few miles an hour for the stop sign, you're not gonna hear it. It's when you're full speed,
Hmm.
you're gonna hear it. So that's why I was like, you know.
I have rumble streets near my house, so believe me,
Right,
it-
but
yeah,
at a mile an hour, you're not gonna, it's physically impossible to make noise.
Okay. Well, you know, if people paid attention, we wouldn't follow the speed limit, we wouldn't have all these signs and issues, but,
Oh, yeah.
okay, anyone here for public input? No one is in the audience for public input. Anyone on Zoom for public input? Anyone on Zoom for public input? No one's on Zoom for public input?
Motion to close, public
Second,
input.
the motion to close public input, please call the roll.
Councilors Crumpets,
Yes.
Labrie,
Yes.
Kushein,
Yes.
Piniac Costello.
Yes.
Alrighty, and what would you like the order to be?
Motion to place on file.
Motion to place,
Yep.
file? Second motion to place on file, please call the roll.
Councilors Crumpets,
At a rumble strip?
Yes.
Labrie,
Yes.
Kushein,
Yes.
Piniac Costello.
Yes.
Don't take off.
Thank you, everyone, tonight for all of your
Don't-
patience,
don't
by
take
the
my
way.
question,
I
please.
appreciate it.
Motion to accept the,
Well, I need to read the motion.
Yeah, he's gotta read it.
We're getting there. We're almost there. We're so close we can taste it. Motion to place on file, approved 4-0 with no one on Zoom.
motion to approve the minutes from March 6th.
Second, the, motion to approve the minutes, meeting minutes, from March sixth, 2023. Please call the roll.
Councilors Crumpets,
Yes?
Labrie,
Yes.
Kushein, Piniac Costello.
Yes.
And can I have a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
Second motion to adjourn. Please call the roll.
Councilors Crumpets,
Yes.
Labrie,
Yes.
Kushein, Piniac Costello.
All righty, thank you again, everyone, for your patience.